the buyer's bank giving to the seller, giving assurance of payment when shipment is made and documents are presented and confirmed to the terms and conditions of the letter of credit. The implication of that is that at the end of the day, the buyer is guaranteeing the seller that he will be paid, and that guarantee is not coming from the seller really, it's coming from the seller's bank. So that means, from the buyer's brand rather, that means the buyer, the seller is pretty much assured that payment will be made. So there's not much to worry about as far as his payment is concerned. And yesterday we talked about the principal guide letter of credit, we talked about the principle of autonomy, and we spoke about the principle of strict compliance. Principle of autonomy and principle of strict compliance. This morning we move on to discussing the life cycle of the letter of credit. The life cycle. Now, understanding the life cycle is so important because it gives you an insight into the dynamics, step-by-step processes, and what could go wrong or happen at every point in time in the course of the transaction. What could go wrong or happen at every point in time in the transaction. What that basically does for you is it makes it a lot easier for you to be able to mitigate your risk, because then you're pretty much aware of all that could happen and all that could go wrong. And because of your knowledge of all that could happen and what could go wrong, that makes it easier for you to be able to manage your risk. You know, one of the challenges that a lot of people in international trade have is that, especially during hard letter of credit transaction, is inability to have a good understanding of the risk that you face. Inability to have a good understanding of the risk that you face as a result of the letter of credit transaction. Inability to understand the risk that you face as a result of the letter of credit transaction. If you are not able to understand the risk at every stage, from stage had a break in transmission and end at stage 7, it becomes very difficult for you to be able to really make. What are the issue peculiar to drafting stage of letter of credit? What are the issue peculiar to drafting the letter of credit? You need to understand the issue peculiar to drafting. You need to understand the issue peculiar to issuance, because the first phase is drafting, the second phase is issuance, the third phase in letter of credit dynamics is amendment, the fourth phase is presentation, the fifth phase is examination, the sixth phase is payment, and the seventh phase is termination. A good understanding of all these dynamics makes it a lot easier for you to be able to anticipate the issues, anticipate the risk, anticipate the challenges and peculiarities of each phase and deal with it. You know what? If you are unable to anticipate the challenges, then you will not prepare for it. For example, drafting. If you are new in letter of credit as an exporter and someone sends you a letter of credit, typically you expect that it should send you a draft before it is issued. You know why? You will need a draft sometimes to raise funds. In fact, your bank might need that draft to examine it and be sure they are okay with all the terms, and then the issued LC will now be issued later on. But drafting phase is a phase where we agree, we review the content and agree that it's in tandem and consistent with the agreement we've signed. Remember, letter of credit comes after you've signed the agreement. So you have an agreement ab initio. On the strength of the agreement you have, letter of credit is issued. So that means the foundation of letter of credit transaction is the agreement we sign. The foundation of letter of credit transaction is the agreement we sign. So if we have agreed this is the way we are going to handle this transaction, this is the way we are going to go, this is the way we are going to move, then it's so important for you to be able to review the LC eventually received the draft now, vis-a-vis the contract that was signed. At this stage, all those inconsistencies between the contract and the LC are amended. For example, if the Incoterm you agree in the letter of credit is FOB free on board, and then a letter of credit is issued, and you found out that the Incoterm of letter of credit is CFR, cost and freight, of course, you will tell the issuer or the importer that, look, this is not what we agree. Kindly amend this draft to reflect our agreement and in line with the contract we have. These back and forth are the issue we have that you need to deal with at the drafting stage. Now, still at the drafting stage, sometimes also you have some terms. Terms like, for example, you have terms like saying that the letter of credit, saying that some terms and conditions need to be fulfilled in letter of credit. And at that point, when you put that term and condition, the party you are dealing with might come back and say, no, this term and condition is not what we agreed. But more importantly, the bank can come in and say, how do we deal with this? The terms you have stated are non-documentary. Remember, letter of credit is documentary credit. Everything regarding the transaction is going to be based solely on document presented. Solely on document presented. So if you are now stating terms on the LC without telling the bank, the document the bank needs to examine to ensure that term is fulfilled, that is termed non-documentary condition. And these are the issues that will be sought out at the drafting stage. The drafting stage is so important because at the end of the day, if we do not resolve the issue at this time, it might constitute a major challenge in the course of the transaction. If the issue around the drafting are not resolved at this time, it might constitute a major challenge at the end of the transaction. A big challenge, really, at the end of the transaction. Because we might find out that, as an exporter, let me tell you most of the big mistake that exporter make. When an exporter gets a letter of credit, the first thing they go to check is the price and the value. Immediately the price and the value is in order, they will go and start working to ship. They will check the timelines. They will check the documents. They will check other terms and conditions. They are just looking at the amount. They agree. Oh, okay, the amount is $1 per unit. Okay, we are doing $1 million, $200,000. That's all they will go and check. You might have all the value of the LC issue in your favor, but at the end of the day, you might not get that money. You won't get that money because you have not fulfilled the terms and conditions as stipulated in the credit. So please, beyond the amount that every exporter tends to focus on, can you begin to look at other things, please? Other things like the Incoterms, other things like quality specification, other things like the documents required for presentation upon which payments will be made. Those terms are very important and crucial, such that if you do not comply with the terms, you might have all the money you expect on this transaction, you might not be able to enjoy their money. You might not even have access to the money at the end of the day. Why? Because you have not fulfilled the terms and conditions required in this letter of credit transaction. Letter of credit is an undertaking of the buyer's bank given to the seller, giving assurance of payment when shipment is made and documents are presented that conform with the terms and conditions of letter of credit. If you are unable to present documents that conform to the terms of letter of credit because the exporter or the importer asked for a document from you that made the LC unworkable, and unfortunately you could not spot it, that becomes a challenge. Do you know that a letter of credit is unworkable when there are terms in that letter of credit that will require a third party outside the purview of the exporter to fulfill? How do you explain this? An importer issue an LC to an exporter through his bank and then put a term like a document like applicant satisfactory report, and that this report to be issued by the importer will form a basis for payment. How do you explain that? And you know the interesting thing, some importer will take that term because they don't even understand the implication. They don't even look at it. How do you expect that? How can someone be a judge in his own case? The importer is the one to pay. but the importer is the one to determine the document that will be used for payment. The importer is the one to now issue the document that will be used to pay. Why? So let's assuming it fails to issue that document to you, how do you get paid? As far as the bank is concerned, you have accepted these terms. This term is the basis for payment. If that document does not come from the importer and is not presented by the importer, forget it, you will not get paid. What is this telling you? Letter of credit is an undertaking that guarantees payment to the extent that the exporter comply with the terms and conditions spelled out in the LC as evidence in the document to be presented. So, if I'm unable to present this document, the LC becomes unworkable, even though I have an LC, a form of guarantee for payment in my hands. But you know what? I might be unable to get payment on that LC. Now, let's leave on drafting and move to the next one. The next one is issuance. Issuance. Remember, we are discussing letter of credit, and we are discussing the life cycle of a letter of credit transaction. The life cycle of letter of credit transaction. In the life cycle of letter of credit transaction, we said the first one is drafting. The second one is issuance. Question: when is a letter of credit said to be issued? Is it when the bank clicks send on SWIFT and then it leaves? Of course not. A letter of credit is said to be issued when it leaves the issuer's control. So for example, if a bank in Nigeria, for example GT Nigeria, GT Ghana, if GT Bank in Nigeria issue an LC in favor of GT, in favor of an importer, an exporter in GT Bank in Ghana, as long as that LC is still in custody of GT Bank in Ghana and not yet advised to the importer in Ghana, that LC has not been issued. You know why? All that needs to happen is for a guy in GT to just put a call through to his colleague in Ghana and say, guy, I beg, don't issue that thing, don't advise ILC yet, so there's an error inside, I beg. I'm going to send you another one now, please don't advise it. By just a phone call and email, the Ghana branch or Ghana subsidiary of GTB will decline advising that LC. And that's why an LC is only issued when it leaves the control of the issuer, in which case the issuer is unable to request for the LC to be to stop the advice of the LC, to stop the delivery of the LC, and is unable to stop it. If it's unable to stop it, the LC is deemed to have been issued. So basically, as soon as the LC gets to the beneficiaries and the importers hand, you can say the LC has been issued. As soon as the LC gets to the beneficiaries and the importers' hands, you can say the LC has been issued. Because at that time, it cannot be recalled again. We are now expecting the beneficiary to accept or reject the letter of credit as received. We are now expecting the beneficiary to accept or reject the letter of credit as received. A letter of credit is issued when it leaves the issuer's control. A letter of credit is issued when it leaves the issuer's control. When this letter of credit then gets to the advising bank. Who is an advising bank? Advising bank is the bank that advises, delivers, communicates the letter of credit issued to the beneficiary. When an advising bank receives a letter of credit and the advised letter of credit to the exporter, that letter of credit, what the advisor is basically saying is that, number one, I have satisfied myself as to the apparent authenticity of this letter of credit. Number two, the letter of credit I advise accurately replicates exactly what I have received. By advising an LC to an exporter, the advising bank is saying the advice I gave accurately reflects what I received. Number two, it basically says that I have satisfied myself as to the apparent authenticity of the letter of credit I have received. I have satisfied myself as to the apparent authenticity of the letter of credit I have received. So when an LC is issued, An LC is advised by the exporter, by the exporter's bank to the exporter. As soon as the exporter receives it from his bank, the LC is deemed to have been officially issued. The LC is deemed to have been officially issued. That means an LC is not issued simply because a bank clicks send. An LC is not issued simply because the advising bank has received it. An LC is not issued simply because a copy has been sent to the importer evidencing that it's been sent out. An LC is issued when it leaves the issuer's control. The LC leaves the issuer's control when the LC is already advised to the exporter and the exporter has accepted or rejected it. The exporter has accepted or rejected it. And the exporter needs to communicate to the bank that has received the LC that, okay, I've received this LC, I'm okay with it. Or I've received this LC, I have concern with it. What are the concern I have? I have concern with the terms stated in the LC because the term does not accurately reflect what we agree. The term does not accurately reflect what we agree between the buyer and the seller. And because the term does not accurately reflect what we agree between the buyer and the seller, then it becomes a lot easier for me to ask to reject. So I have a basis for that. I have a basis for that. I have a basis for that. And the basis is that what you are giving me is not in line with what I'm expecting from you. What you are giving me is not in line with what I'm expecting from you. A letter of credit is issued when it leaves the issuer's control. A letter of credit is issued when it leaves the issuer's control. If it does not leave the issuer's control, it is deemed not to have been issued yet. It does not leave the issuer's control, it is deemed not to have been issued yet. What is this basically saying? As an exporter, please note that it's extremely important for you to have a good and clear understanding of a letter of credit. That's why I'm taking pain and time to go through all the phases of letter of credit transaction. Remember the 7 phases? Number 1, drafting. Number 2, issuance. Number 3, amendment. Number 4, presentation. Number 5, examination. And number 6, payment. These terms and conditions of this cycle of letter of credit is so critical and so important, such that at the end of the day, if I do not understand it, and the peculiarity of each of these phases, you know what? It will become very difficult for me. It will become very difficult for me to be able to sail through the letter of credit process without issues. You know what? I have a friend recently was issued a letter of credit and he did a shipment and he sent the document. Imagine a friend who knows me as a trade expert, and he was doing a trade transaction and I'm not aware. It was in the course of a transaction we're discussing, and he was expressing his frustration. He was expressing his frustration because he actually expect payment on this LC for some time now, and it's taking a long time, more than 3 weeks, and we're still expecting payment. Why? There was discrepancy on that letter of credit. The bank actually did not even know what he wants or what he should do. The bank did not know what it wants and what it should do. So the bank actually, in my opinion, messed up that transaction. But I won't blame the bank. I'll blame my friend, who also do not have a good understanding of what he wanted to do. And he allowed the bank to mess up his transaction, and he has so much issue with that transaction. I'll be rounding off now. I've discussed just 2 of the 7. In the evening, I will talk about another 2 or 3 among the stages or phases in a typical letter of credit transaction. Thank you very much for listening again this morning. My name is Dele Ayimiba. This is Import Export Platform Facebook Live from 3D Printing Academy. Remember, this video go live on on YouTube, and you can always go back to watch it. This video will be on YouTube channel 3T Impex. Remember to visit the channel, share the video, like the video, subscribe to our channel, drop your comment, and click on notification bell so you can be alerted whenever we update or upload a new video. Thank you very much for listening, and have a good day at work. Bye for now.